And now let's get some education news. President William Ruto has announced that the Higher Education Loans Board HELB will be abolished and replaced by the National Skill and Funding Council NSFC. In order to improve the education system, the NSFC will absorb the Technical and Vocational Education and Training TVET funding and increase funding by 45% compared to HELB. The NSFC will also mobilize grants, bursaries, and scholarships from private and public sponsors to cover non-tuition costs for university students.
Education, especially higher education, is in a crisis. Most of our universities.
President William Ruto has revealed the plans to merge the three funding bodies in the higher education sector. Speaking in Mombasa when welcoming the new year, Ruto said the sector is set to undergo a raft of reforms.
In fact, the Auditor General said the other day, all our universities are technically insolvent.
This is even as the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms is expected to submit its second preliminary report this month. This, he said, will bridge the current higher education funding gap of up to 45%. Ruto added that this plan will double the current HELB funding from 11 billion shillings to 22 billion shillings and even eliminate HELB loan interests.
The proposal we are making as Kenya Kwanza is that we are going to merge the Higher Education Loans Board, the University Funding Board, and the TVET Funding Board into one unit. And this unit will be responsible for scholarships, it will be responsible for funding, and it will assess all students. Today, there are students who don't need scholarship, but they are given scholarship. So, there will be assessment so that we can close the gap. And it should be possible for us as government to also know what are the skills. Sometimes we are training people in fields that we already have a surplus.
The National Skill and Funding Council NSFC will absorb the technical and vocational education and training funding and increase funding by 45% compared to HELB. The NSFC will also mobilize grants, bursaries and scholarships from private and public sponsors to cover non-tuition costs for university students.
Sisi wote tunasema tunataka ile HELB, Higher Education Loans Board. Sindio? Pesa ya Higher Education Loans Board. Kwanza tuondoe interest. Kusiwe na interest yeyote. Na ya pili, hiyo pesa ni kidogo sana. Inatakikana iongezwe ndio comrade mambo yao ya elimu. Na jambo la tatu, inachelewa. Inakuja ikiwa imechelewa sana. Watu wamesha ya Higher Education Loans Board. Tunaelewana comrade?
NSFC will further mobilize grants, bursaries and scholarships from private and public sponsors to cover non-tuition costs. The decision to abolish HELB and establish the NSFC was based on a report compiled by a task force set up to review the competency-based curriculum. The task force was mandated to recommend a governance and financing framework for TVET training and development, university education, research and training.
So, we are going to call this organization the National Skills and Funding Council, so that it looks at the skills and it funds the skills that are necessary for the trajectory we are going into.
HELB was established in 1995 and is responsible for providing funding for Kenya university students taking undergraduate and postgraduate courses at East African universities recognized by the Commission for University Education.
And in future, tutatengeneza sehemu ya hiyo Higher Education Loans Board, pia iwe ni grant, isiwe ni loan. Tunaelewana? especially to the needy children of our republic.
In addition to establishing the NSFC, President Ruto also announced that the government will hire 30,000 additional teachers for basic education and 3,000 tutors for TVET institutions in order to ensure smooth transitions into the first junior secondary school level.
When you look at the TVET guys who look very desperate from where they are coming from, those TVET are also spread right down in the villages, and their cost of living is even much easier to do there, but yet we are not even able to give them even 10,000 shillings.
The government will also spend 15 billion shillings to equip 70 TVET institutions to assist in the training of learners and prepare them for the labor market.
And then finally, we will complete the construction of the 52 TVET institutions that are not yet constructed. We have 52 constituencies that do not have. We have 250 wards that do not have a vocational training center. We will do those. We will construct those also. And then
for Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, Ambusha Jr.